This is going to be a quick video on the definition of an outpost. In chess, we usually want to bring our pieces towards the opponent's side. And you can see our knight is in the enemy side, our bishop is in the enemy side. If you're wondering what is the enemy side, it is between the 5th and the 4th ranks. So if you cut the board in the middle, this part would be the black space and this part would be the white space, right? And if white has some pieces over the opponent's side, those are like our little spies, and they are going to be attacking the opponent's pieces very, very well. And if there are certain criteria that is met, we can call them true outposts. And these criteria are, first, it has to be in the enemy space. Second, it has to be protected by one of our pawns. And third, the opponent cannot disturb our piece with their pawn. Let's look into this knight right now. This knight, everybody, is in the enemy space. So that's number one, check. This knight, everybody, is protected by our pawn. That's number two. That is also a check. And number three, everybody, is black cannot attack with a pawn this knight. For example, if there was a pawn on d7 or f7, then this knight would be disturbed and would probably have to move away. That's why this wouldn't be a true outpost if the opponent had some pawns. But there are no pawns. So this knight, everybody, is a true outpost. Let's look into, let's look into this bishop that's on b5. Now, is this bishop in the enemy space? Yes, so that's a check. Is this bishop protected by one of our own pawns? Do we have a pawn here or here protecting this bishop? No. So the number two qualification failed, so we already know that this is not going to be an outpost. Alright? While this knight is an outpost, this white bishop on b5 is not an outpost. It is a nice square facing the opponent's direction, but we wouldn't call this a true outpost. Let's look at this black bishop on b4. Now for black, this space would be white space. Is this black bishop in white space? Yes. So this bishop is in the enemy space. That is number one, so that's a check. Let's look at whether black is protecting this bishop with a pawn. Is black protecting this bishop with a pawn? No. So the number two qualification has failed, so this is not a true outpost right now. Let's look at number three anyway. So the third qualification is whether white can try to attack this bishop with a pawn. Is there a pawn on the A and C files that can potentially attack this black bishop? No. So everybody, this black bishop cannot be attacked by a pawn, so the third qualification is also a check. Now, if black actually wanted to make this bishop a true outpost, all they have to do right now is to actually move the pawn to a5. And then this bishop will be anchored by this pawn, and it will become a true outpost. So those are the three things we need to make a true outpost. And we usually use minor pieces to make an outpost, so knight or bishop. And the reason why we want those is because they will be attacking so many squares in the enemy space. So black has to be very careful when they're moving their pieces to avoid the squares that our outpost is attacking. There are many complicated things we can do with an outpost, a lot of strategies. We will cover that in a different video, but these are the definitions of an outpost.